Hello everyone, it's Dylan from Yugioh Everything, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains episode summary / discussion / cast list analysis. In this video, we are going to be going over the summary and the very long cast list for episode 71, along with my predictions on what might happen in the episode, and analyzing a little bit of the preview for episode 71 that we got at the end of episode 70 last Wednesday. So, without further ado, let's get into it. If you do not want any spoilers, now is your chance to click off the video. 3, 2, 1, here we go. So, big thank you to DMC, as always, for translating these cast lists. So, episode 71, the summary, which we have a few new lines for, the title of 71, Declaration of War. And I do want to add, we know absolutely nothing about episode 72 and forward, so it's always exciting when analyzing kind of the last episode of the month's summary and cast list, because we have no idea where the show is going to go from here based on episode summaries or titles for future episodes. I imagine we will probably get them on Tuesday, the 72 cast list, and maybe next Friday we will probably get the big batch at the beginning of October for the episodes in October. Also, episode 71, it is also confirmed, ending 4 will begin episode 71, so expect a reaction from me next Wednesday, along with an in-depth analysis on ending 4. Anyway, 71, sorry. Playmaker's attempts to prevent conflict between Ignises and humans have failed. Due to Revolver's attack, the Light Ignis is now hell-bent on subjugating the humans. The Light Ignis then declares war on humanity and kicks off his plan to place humans under the Ignis's control. In order to accomplish the Ignis's goal, Bowman appears and challenges Playmaker to a duel. Subjugating, because that's kind of a big word. The definition for it is bring under domination or control, usually by conquest. So subjugating basically just means controlling, to take over the human race, which we knew were his and Wendy's motivations. And kind of the reason that Kogami built them, not necessarily to take over, well, to be humanity's successors, not necessarily to take control of the current human race, but if Lightning and Windy feel that's the best way to go about it, that's what they were created for. So again, you understand both sides of things. At least I do, and I think most people do. Here is the cast list. Very long cast list. A lot of people speaking. There's so many people speaking that we're mainly going to be analyzing the people that are not speaking, which I will get to after this. So here's everyone that's going to be speaking. Yusaku, Ai, Homura, Flame, Kusanagi, Revolver, Spectre, Gnome, Bit, Boot, Bowman, Lightning, Windy, Akira, Dojin Kenjo / Blood Shepherd, Hayami, Kenmochi, and Yorozaka. I cannot say that last name. Kenmochi and Yorozaka, if you've forgotten, I do not blame you at all. Those are the other two bounty hunters along with Blood Shepherd and, not Akira, and Go. So, the one name, there's actually a couple names that I think are interesting that are not here. Geez, there's a lot of people speaking in this episode. Go. Go is absent from this cast list, and I know I can already see all the jokes in the comment section from you guys, like, oh, well, Go has been gone the entire show, basically. But I do, in all seriousness, think it's interesting that he is still not here. Remember, Akira, it was a very quick line, and a line that might have went under a lot of people's noses, that Akira Zaizen said, Go is on a special mission. I've kind of reassigned him. He's on a special mission. We have no idea what that mission is, and I'm actually because right now, here's where all the Ignis are, and clearly everyone knows where the Ignis are if Blood Shepherd is going to be in this episode, if Akira and Hayami and Kenmochi are all going to be speaking in this episode. In fact, we saw in the preview, Blood Shepherd looked insane. Usually when you have those, like, lines in the animation, it's to show, like, a very intense sequence of events, which I absolutely loved how he looked in the preview. And he's blowing up, not even dueling, literally blowing up all the echoes. Looks like he's attempting to blow up Bit and Boot, so he is going after the Ignis, which are very, very interesting because he might not really be going after Playmaker as he has the entire show. And the only reason he's going after Playmaker, the only reason the Knights are going after Playmaker is because he has an Ignis. But now that there are more Ignis involved in the story, they can say, you know what, I'm going to go after Playmaker later, let me go after the other Ignis. So you might start to see a temporary alliance between Playmaker and characters like Blood Shepherd, characters like the Knights of Hanoi. In fact, we kind of saw that with Spectre and Soulburner. Instead of Spectre immediately fighting Soulburner to try and destroy Flame, he said, come upstairs, see what the Ignis are actually all about, and then if you still, after seeing that, decide to work with Flame, then I'm going to take care of you, which I really am hoping was foreshadowing a Spectre-Soulburner duel. But we might start seeing some temporary alliances because there are more Ignis now to go after, and clearly, in terms of threat level, Lightning is a much more threatening Ignis than Eye and Flame, so it makes sense for the bounty hunters like Blood Shepherd to go after Lightning and to go after, in this case, Bit Boot and the Echoes. So I'm very excited to see him in the next episode. And yes, I will be getting to Emma not appearing on this cast list, which is kind of shocking because at 63 ended with Blood Shepherd holding Emma at gunpoint. I will get to that in a second, but I just want to get back to Go before I, lose my train of thought and then forget to talk about him for the rest of the video. The bounty hunter team and Akira clearly know that where all the Ignis are, and we know that because Blood Shepherd is at the scene of the crime right now. So why is Go not there? What kind of mission is Go on? I would like to think that it is a plot-relevant mission. I don't know. It's interesting. Go is kind of a wild card, and I kind of like him not being present here because it could lead for a very badass return. I genuinely cannot think where he might be unless Akira told him that he doesn't trust Soul Tech Uppers and he's trying to maybe get information on them or get information on the Knights through back channels. I have no idea what Go could be up to, but the fact that he's not on this cast list and the whole rest of the bounty hunter team is and most likely are pursuing the Ignis, it makes me really intrigued as to the mission that Go is on, which is probably the most intrigued myself and probably a lot of people have been about his character in quite some time. So I actually like that he's not around right now because it could mean for a more impactful return. So I'm very interested and definitely something to keep an eye on with where in the world is Go Onizuka. Emma Besso and Blood Shepherd. Blood Shepherd holding Emma at gunpoint. So, will Blood Shepherd have nailed Emma Besso when we... Oh, jeez, that was a horrible phrasing of words. Will Blood Shepherd have shot Emma Besso, when we see them, if we see them during episode 71 at some point, and maybe if Blood Shepherd incapacitates Emma, it would make sense as to why she is not speaking. So she might appear, Blood Shepherd might shoot her, and her VR character disappears, gets deleted, whatever may happen there, and then that's why Emma is not on this cast list. Or they are going to continue to leave us in the dark as to what happened with Emma Besso. We might see Playmaker on his D-board flying and chasing Lightning, chasing Bowman. That's when Bit and Boot show up, and then Blood Shepherd might show up, and we might have no idea how his interaction with Emma concluded. Another notable name not on this cast list is Aoi Zaizen. Unfortunately for her, there's not really a place for her to be in this story right now. Like, yes, she's trying to help out her brother, but she's not on the official Soul Tech bounty hunter team, so she's trying to go after the Ignis, but kind of half-heartedly. And Emma is working with her, but Emma doesn't necessarily see the benefit in going after the Ignis and trying to recapture them because she likes Playmaker and wants to help Playmaker, feels like she owes Playmaker. So their dynamic doesn't really fit with this story. I wish Aoi had a more concrete rival that was on the antagonist side, even though Spectre, the Knights are kind of in an interesting position where I feel like a majority of the fans are rooting for the Knights of Hanoi because of everything that's happened and everything that's transpired. So an Aoi and Spectre rematch, which would be awesome to see, it definitely does not make any sense right now. Aoi doesn't have an Ignis, so there's no reason Spectre would even waste his time to duel her. Aoi also doesn't really have a connection with the Kusanagis. It's not like she was friends with Jin. She wasn't friends with Shoichi, so it wouldn't even make sense for her in that regard to now go after the Ignis and go after Lightning because she knew Jin and had some connection there. So unfortunately, very similar, I thought, to Go in the first season. I almost feel like Aoi it's just tough to put her in the story right now, which is a shame because she got this whole redesign. She dueled Soulburner, and I thought really put on a good show. Soulburner just had that crazy last turn and finished her off pretty quickly, and since then, we really have seen hide nor hair of her, and I don't know if that's going to change, especially when it seems like the entire Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains cast is on this episode, and yet we do not have Aoi, we do not have Emma, and it is kind of a shame. But hopefully they will find a way to work them into the plot soon. And yeah, that's really all I have to say about that. Dr. Gnome, Spectre, Revolver, all speaking. No Faust, no Vira. I imagine Bowman and Lightning are going to fly off, and Spectre and Gnome will say, all right, we're going to head back to the lab. Revolver, you pursue them, or something like that. And then Vira and Faust don't have a reason to speak, and they go back. Or maybe they will help Blood Shepherd and assist Blood Shepherd in taking out the Echoes like they did in the fake Cybers World 2.0, like we see Blood Shepherd taking them out in the preview. And there's just no lines for Vira and Faust to say. I'm sure they will appear in the episode. They just won't have any speaking roles. Another interesting name that is not speaking in this episode is Haru. Haru is a character that was introduced to us before Season 2 started, when we got Homura Takeru's bio, when we got Bowman's bio, when we got Flame's bio. It seemed like Haru was going to be a very important and plot-centric character, which he might be, but to this point, he has probably said maybe 10 total lines of dialogue. I mean, he has really not done anything except kind of just been a background character. And I'm not going to, bash his character or bash those decisions, because I still believe that there is going to be a very big role for him. Just like Bowman is shrouded in a lot of mystery, Haru is arguably shrouded in way more mystery than Bowman is. I'm very confused as to why he will not be speaking. Jin will not be speaking either, which is a shame. It would have been nice to get some sort of dialogue from them. Jin not speaking just kind of shows me and tells me that Jin is still the same character in the real world. There were some people who thought maybe in the real world he was faking being depressed and faking, being to himself in order to fool everyone because he was working with Lightning behind the scenes. I don't believe that's the case. I genuinely believe that his memories have been rewritten and that he's just kind of under the possession of Lightning. I don't know if he's doing this under his own will. I don't think he is. And him not speaking, I think, kind of further confirms that theory of mine. But, yeah, it's going to be an action-packed episode, ladies and gentlemen. So many people appearing, so many people speaking. It really is a war, and 71 is fittingly titled Declaration of War. I also want to say this, and this is not something that I say lightly. It's not something that I say often. In fact, I don't think I've ever said it since VRains started, but I think given the last 3 weeks to a month of Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains, I think this is the most excited the community has been since probably the very beginning of VRains for this show. I think a lot of people have been really, really pumped up with what VRains has done the last 3 weeks, and I think there's a lot of people that are very, very genuinely excited about VRains going forward. Of course, I've always been excited about it. I'm an easy-to-please guy, but for the people that were kind of iffy on the show, I think now more than ever, they are on board with what's going to happen. Not saying that's going to last until, episode 140, but VRains definitely is on a high wave right now. We've even seen the ratings on Nico, which were kind of steadily decreasing. Nothing crazy in terms of really bad low ratings. Those have even started to go up, so even in Japan, the reception is getting better and better. And yeah, it's really, really a good time to be a fan of Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains. I hope there are a lot of exciting things to come. Thank you, everyone, for watching this video, and please leave all your thoughts on 71 and Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains down below. Special thank you to my Platinum tier patrons Alexa Baker, Glen McGookin, Jorge Carrillo, and James Rose, and to my Diamond tier patron Bouldergeist, and to my Egyptian God tier patrons Syn Cloud and Odd Eyes Vaughn. Thank you to everyone who supports me over on Patreon. I really cannot tell you how much that helps me out financially, and thank you to everyone who just watches these videos, because without you guys, I would not be able to do this. I will talk to you down below. Thank you again so much for watching. I hope you have a great weekend, and I hope you have an amazing day.